Hello, baby.
I was crazy once.
I'm thinking of a number.
Welcome to the second episode of the year, everyone.
Whoa. That's right.
That's
And
right.
because it's the second episode of the year, you know what that means. We're going to start introducing all of our big changes that we're going to start making.
That's right.
We've seen what's gone viral on Instagram and TikTok, and
Yeah.
I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna have the at whatever style podcast from now on, where we're gonna
Okay.
have a big background. We're always gonna have like 30 people on, and we're just gonna be only focusing on red pill stuff from now on. We're all
right.
gonna be a red pill podcast. That's gonna be our new content.
Oh,
What about-
boy.
One of our hosts is going to be a lady who's just inexplicably wearing like the pointy German World War I helmets.
Oh yeah,
Is-
the what do you call
Pickle-
like?
Pickle something?
Yeah, what do you call those? I remember like were those
I'm gonna look this
practical?
up. I don't know.
Like,
I think
yeah.
only officers. It's a Pickelhaub, I think. Anyway, is that a real podcast, or is that one of the things where they just record like 30-second clips and put them on Instagram and pretend to be a full length thing?
What I love about the TikTok stuff is like why do these influencer like hustle guys always wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning? You know, it's like I'm up at 4.
Have you ever
I'm out here
seen
reading 2 books at the same time.
Have you ever seen the Mark Wahlberg schedule?
No.
No. What's the Mark Wahlberg schedule?
Well, his is crazy because he does like the. I'm gonna try to pull it up. He does the like I wake up. I just googled Mike Wahlberg, which is a secret. Other Wahlberg brother. But anyway,
Wahlberg.
so his schedule is weird because like most of the time, if someone's waking up that early, I assume it's because they want more time in the day, right? You want to
Yeah.
have more time to be productive. He does not.
Makes sense. Oh.
Because his bedtime. Well, actually, I haven't done the math on this. His wake up time, 2:30
Okay.
in the morning.
That's
So
cra-
that's
that's
how he
crazy.
starts out. Marky Mark. I'm just gonna
That's
read
crazy,
through this.
dude.
This is because
Okay,
this
go
is
for it.
the new podcast format. We're gonna be talking about
That's
this kind
right.
of stuff. So
Yeah.
his typical daily schedule: 2:30, wake up. 2:45,
Yeah.
prayer time. That's important. 3:15, breakfast. Got to get that in at some point. 3:40 to 5:15, workout. And then 5:30 a.m. post-workout meal. He's like a hobbit having second breakfast out here.
Second breakfast, baby.
6 a.m. shower. Can't have a stinky Wahlberg.
Yeah.
7:30. That's a long shower, by the way. An hour and a half right there. He only has half an hour to eat his meal, and then an hour and a half afterwards. And then 7:30, golf. You gotta.
He
every
loves
morning.
golf.
Man.
He hits the green every day according to the schedule. 8 a.m. snack. That's also allotted. He has an hour and a half for snack time, which personally, I think I need to start adopting that. I don't know if I'm going to adopt everything, but an hour and a half for snack time every day seems pretty good to me.
Yep.
Well, adopt
Anyway,
everything. What are you, Angelina Jolie?
I'm Angelina Jolie. That's
Remember,
right.
remember those jokes about her adopting a bunch of kids?
That's right. She did adopt a
Yeah.
bunch of kids. Salt. Is she a spy? Is she not a spy? I don't know what that movie's about. Anyway, 8:30 after an hour and a half of snack time at 9:30 a.m., he goes to the cryo chamber recovery. He's in there with Walt Disney.
The
He's
cryo
freezing
chamber.
himself.
Oh
Then-
my god!
Hold on. Best part. Up next, it's a snack time again. He can't help himself.
He's
He's
gotta-
going back
he's
to the
gotta eat.
Oreos.
Does he say what his snack is?
No, it's just
Yeah.
snack.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
assuming
is it-
it's like probably just like chicken cubes or something, but I like to imagine he's like digging.
And
into some
those of
ruffles.
you who are
3D
big
printed,
stream heads,
Yeah.
well, you guys know the stream heads will know
Oh,
that
that's
we
right.
did do some extensive research on these few
On the cubes.
food.
I
cube
wasn't even talking about those cubes. I was just thinking like cubed, like chopped up chicken, like just
I
like
see.
chicken breast. But you know,
I think
might
he's
eat
rich
those.
enough to have the
The
tech.
cubes, the
The
cubes.
cubos.
11 a.m. And he's got a couple hours for this. He's got about 2 hours. Family time, meetings and work. He's got to get it all in there. 1 p.m. lunch. It's been a couple hours since his last snack, so he's getting hungry. 2 p.m. Meetings, work calls. He's got a lot of those.
Because he's a producer, right?
He's a
that's
producer, and he has a bunch of. He has like a workout brand. He has a bunch of shit. There's a funny documentary about him on HBO. I recommend it. It doesn't. I don't think portray him exactly how he thinks it does.
It's kind of funny.
Okay, so 2 p.m. meeting, work calls. 3 p.m. pick up kids at school. He's a good dad. You can't say that about him. And then my favorite time of day, 3:30. It's snack time again. So he's got another snack. 4 p.m. is workout number 2. He does that for an hour, and 5 p.m. he showers. 5:30 dinner time and family, and then he's got an early bedtime because he's got to wake up early. So he goes to bed at 7:30 every night, according to this Instagram schedule from.
So yeah, I guess he does get like 8 hours of sleep. I guess
he does get the full 8 hours.
Or seven. If he wakes up at 2:30, it's 7.5 hours.
Yeah. So how many hours awake is that? 2:30 a.m.
Well, if he sleeps for 7.5 hours, he's up for the 17 hours.
Okay. Well, I'm just confused.
16.5.
Why can't he just like shift
go.
everything down and not have to wake up at 2:30 in the morning? Like that's my question. Like why doesn't he just shift everything like a couple hours?
Is it different if he's acting?
I'd assume so because I don't know how he'd be able to fit all that snack time when he's on the set of Transformers. What's he been more recently?
I don't know.
I'm not following Mark.
Isn't he on the Prayer app or whatever? The one where you
oh
get to pray with
yeah,
Mark
oh
Wahlberg?
of course he played Father Stu. He
That's
played
right.
the
Stu.
Father Stu, the priest, the boxer priest, the priest who swears.
I was gonna say,
and yeah, he does have the
Wahlburgers,
Catholic
but
app now. So
I don't know.
that's what he's on the phone talking to the Pope, being like, you gotta get on this app. That's
Come
one of his
through to
business
the
calls.
app.
You're talking to God, Mitch. You might as well swear
That's
to me.
right. Do you think he's ever said that to the Pope?
Yeah, to Mitch, Pope Mitch.
That's right, Pope Mitch. Mitch McConnell should be the Pope.
I'm afraid I'm on fire.
That's right. That's what he's gonna say when he dies.
Yeah, take a shot.
No,
for those.
he's
who
actually-
know. I don't even know what episode that was.
He's
but
actually
whatever.
not-
Did we ever
gonna
say that
say
on the
anything.
podcast, or is that just a thing that I said because it's a funny thing to say with
you've-
Mitch McConnell's voice?
I think it might be a stream thing. Actually, it might be an
Maybe.
extended universe
Extended
thing,
universe.
Auxiliary
Right.
power.
Yeah, Luke Skywalker's wife says that.
Mara Jade.
What's her name?
Yeah, Mara Jade.
Mara Jade. There you go.
Yeah, the hottest Star Wars girl. That's not true. That the answer of that is Senator Ryo Chuchi. Actually, welcome everyone to Style and Direction, a menswear podcast about the stuffiness. I am Ethan M. Wong.
I'm Spencer DSO.
I'm MJ.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to the second episode of 2024. Big ol' year. It's an even number. You can divide it.
It's a leap year.
It is a leap year. Yeah, leap year. Leap Day Williams is going to come out of the
Yeah.
Mariana Trench, and you're going to have to dance. And he'll give you candy, I think. I forgot what the 30 Rock lore is for Leap Day Williams. But yeah, welcome everyone to the
Yeah.
podcast. I hope everyone enjoyed our episode on hair. You know, that was a big thing. We've never talked about hair before
Yeah.
until that
It is the
moment.
it's the largest organ. Hair.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
Second.
I mean, if you're an animal, you have more than. I mean, we are animals actually.
We are.
right?
Yeah, we're all
Human
creatures.
beings. Yeah. It is. I mean, imagine this. Imagine. Well, I don't know if we said it during the episode, but all I can think of right now is when Tobias gets the plugs and he runs his hands through his hair and then he screams because it's painful. I
Yeah.
thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, it's just screaming, just imagine running your hands through it, and you're just
Because it's just open.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I would imagine you would feel pain every time you cut your hair. I would
Yeah.
never cut my hair if that was the case.
Well, that's like literally what babies think. You know, that's babies
Real-
are.
What else do babies think, Spencer? Can you
Like
tell us?
goo goo gaga. That's probably
Okay, what is that? What does that mean?
Can you-
I don't know what.
Can you
I'm not a
translate?
damn baby. I don't speak baby.
But you know that's what they're thinking.
Yeah, because I've heard them say it out loud,
But-
so I'm assuming.
Wait, hold on.
going through their heads.
If people say what they're thinking.
Yes, people do say what they're thinking. If you
Okay.
listen, the sentence that you just said, you formulated in your brain. You were thinking about it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But the goo goo gaga thing,
Uh-huh.
like they're thinking.
They,
Babies are
okay,
thinking
maybe
goo goo
they're
gaga.
thinking about they love like goo, like slime. You know, they see the relaxing videos on TikTok, and Gaga, they love Lady Gaga. Or maybe they're
Okay.
just trying to say go go Gaga, but they
Like you go.
say it wrong.
Like
Yeah.
Like trying to give some hype to.
to
What's her real name?
Star
lady?
is Born.
Lady Fonzarelli.
Yeah.
Stephanie.
Her real name is Jackson Maine. No, it's Stephanie,
Joanne.
Joanne,
something.
Angelina, Geminata.
Geminata.
Yeah, and she was born in Lenox Hospital, of course.
Yeah.
Linux.
Geminata sounds like a reproductive
Yeah,
thing, you know,
Germinata.
like for like flowers or something,
It could be
like
like
pistil-
germination.
Yeah, exactly. They
Yeah.
should call sex that, actually.
Germination.
I mean, I do. Yeah,
Yeah, I just had some germination last night. You know what I'm saying?
that's right.
Yeah. Anyway, today, this is a mentor podcast, and we're talking about. We haven't talked about like we spent the whole of last year talking about like philosophy and everything because that's my fault. I'll take full. You know, hey, if
You're
talking
like
about
you're like
if
Elvis
talking
or
about
Priscilla.
philosophy. That's right. Yeah. Hey,
We
honey,
had that
if you're not
exact
gonna.
conversation.
Yeah, honey, I need a woman who understands my need to read about philosophy. And if that's not going to be you, I can't have you in here, baby.
And
I
then
can't.
we just did the other Priscilla thing where we burned all our philosophy books in a barbecue.
That's right. Yeah.
God, I want to watch
goodbye.
that movie again.
Goodbye expression and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I thought we'd take a little respite from the big brain, galaxy brain stuff, and talk about something that some clothes that we like to wear, specifically outerwear, because I think actually we haven't really talked about outerwear in a long time.
Well,
I mean,
of
we didn't really
course.
do a lot of episodes about specific items this past year. But
mean-
we also
I
live in
mean-
California.
Yeah, I was gonna
specifically.
say, people
Southern California.
know the podcast. We live in sunny Southern California, where today, I think we're recording. I'm gonna pull the curtain back a little bit on December 11th. And
Whoa.
it was I think like 75 today. That was like the coldest it's been like this week.
Well,
At least in Orange
it
County,
was-
it was.
During the day.
it was
or
kind of.
just-
It was chilly. It was chilly this morning. I'll give you that. And I'm about to say a
Yeah.
number that all of our Midwest and East Coast listeners
They're
are
gonna roll
laugh
their
at.
eyes.
They're like
When I
60
woke up, it
degrees.
was like no. When I woke up, it was like 48 degrees. I did wake up pretty early because I went to bed early last night. I fell asleep.
Okay, right,
watching the movie.
Mr. Mark
Mr.
Wahlberg over here.
I was I was up at
Mr.
2:30 a.m.
yeah, maybe you're Mike Wahlberg.
I'm Mike Wahlberg, yeah. But it was 48 degrees, but then it got into the I met my dad for lunch and I brought a jacket with me, but I did not wear the jacket because I was like, it's hot.
in Topeka.
You know who else? You know who said that? Satan
that?
in hell.
Yeah, probably.
So
Yeah, it's
probably
hot.
said
Hey, yeah, he said, "Hey, Dad," because God's the God the Father.
God is his dad.
Yeah, yeah. God's the father of everything. I will say, I thought of this idea, this podcast, a couple of weeks ago when it actually was pretty cold. It was cold like 2 weeks ago. It was
That's
like
right. We did have a couple.
low
I mean,
60s.
it's getting chilly at night. But I
Yeah.
still have not had to. I've not
I
felt the
mean-
need to wear a coat during the day.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we're and we'll get into this later. We typically wear coats in like the afternoon to evening, like when we're doing stuff. When we recently, at the time of recording, hung out with Chad and Holly, it was kind of cold that night. We
It
were
was
outside.
chilly.
Yeah, and I don't know if other places have them, but Capri Club does not have a lot of flaming heat lamps. I
Smokes.
was like
Space
pillars
heater?
of fire.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like drinks that were on fire. A flaming Mo would warm me. We should go to Universal next time it's cold.
A flaming mo.
I don't.
What's
Is that something you get at Moe's Tavern?
Yeah, you don't know it's the thing from The Simpsons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that they had a cocktail called the Flaming Mo.
It's an episode. It's the
Yeah,
10th
Moe's
episode.
Tavern. What?
do they actually have it
There
at
you go.
Universal though, or you just...
Seymour Butts.
I think that you can
Yeah, but Seymour
actually.
Butts.
I think you can get it at Flaming Mo. Yeah, Universal Studios. Real
it's-
life equivalent to the food is sold at Universal Studios Florida. Oh no. But they
this
do
one.
not actually set it on fire. They put dry ice in it. Come on. But
That's
it's
the
made
opposite of
in the
fire.
show. In the show, it's made of cough syrup. I'm pretty sure.
Gross.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, they can't do that at Universal.
No, we can make that at home though.
I don't think
But
I
we're
will.
talking. We're talking outerwear because we thought we'd talk about it. I think the last episode that Spencer and I talked about any kind of like outerwear clothing was like rainy day attire. I think that
Yeah.
that was like 4 years ago.
Wowie.
When we talked about like our Uniqlo rainproof stuff and wearing a ball cap when it's raining. But we've gotten a lot more outerwear since then, or we've taken stuff out of the archive, and I'm kind of curious to revisit with Spencer. I know in the past. Here's some lore for you. I've like thrifted or like bought on eBay some like 30s coats or whatever, and they were too big, and I had to give them to Spencer. And I'm curious
Yeah.
if he still has those guys.
I do still have them.
That's
Spoiler.
right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, yeah. And MJ
Yes.
has some of my old coats too, and I'm curious how he wears them. So this whole episode is about us talking about outerwear. Even though we are recording this we've had our opportunity to wear them because, as you'll see in the photos, there's photos of us wearing these coats. So we're doing it anyway. And first off, I'll also want to say, fuck all y'all, East Coast people who are gonna be rolling their eyes at this. The whole thing about living in Southern California is that none of this is absolutely necessary. Like we're the people. Like there are guys out there wearing flip flops and shorts when it's December. Okay,
That's right. We got some like Zuckerbergs over here.
that's right. The whole thing about menswear, and we've said this before, all of last year. None of this is necessary. We're doing it because we love it. Okay, so don't roll your eyes because it's only 60 degrees. We're gonna wear a coat. Hell yeah, because I love coats. And I'm gonna wear it because it's awesome. Okay.
Like if I didn't care about clothing, I'd just be wearing some like fucking like Billabong hoodie or whatever, and like
exactly.
and either like shorts or jeans every day, which is how guys dress in Southern California who aren't wearing like fucking athleisure or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'd be at my coffee shop surrounded by. I'd be like everyone else over there wearing a fucking t-shirt and shorts and flip flops or whatever, But we're not those guys. We're the
wanna
dumbest
wear duffel
motherfuckers
coats.
out there.
Yeah.
That's right. We want to wear duffel coats. We want to wear scarves with our coats. We want to wear a beret. We want to wear a fucking hat. That's the whole thing here. But I will say, I think other people are kind of getting into it too. I feel like the rise of fashion as a hobby, especially because of TikTok, I think people are okay with wearing a coat even though it's not that cold out. I mean, then again, I don't know where everyone on TikTok is living, but I feel like
do.
it's been. Oh, really?
If you have a TikTok account, I know where you live.
Yeah, you're doxing everyone right now.
That's
you've
right.
got
I have
got
my
a whole-
doxing website.
Yeah.
Just gonna list everyone's username and their address.
Whereareyou.com.
It's called whereareyou.com. That's right. And you type in your own name, and it just points to you on a map.
Yeah, but I feel like because of TikTok, I feel like people are okay with, even if it is a little bit superfluous. Like people like wearing coats, and ALD was really popular and still is, where layering is such a big component of that.
Well, I think this is something that Dye Workwear points out a lot on Twitter, but one of the things about the quote unquote like golden age of fashion is that the clothes, like suits or outerwear, give you structure, which modern clothes do not, and they kind of it builds up your figure. It like literally makes you look better. And so it's like like we said, you could just wear like a fleece or a big hoodie or something, but you're gonna look better when you have like an overcoat on or something, like something that gives you a little bit of structure.
I actually think that even guys who are not into fashion, they love coats. Like coats are just cool. I think people can understand the universality of just like big lapel, big ass coat. It looks cool.
I mean, like every like nerd property, like there's a character that's just wearing like a cool coat that guys will buy replicas of and make that their like
the black mannequin stuff.
Yeah, they'll just make that the only like quote unquote cool piece of clothing that they own. I always think that's so funny when I see someone in like like a really elaborate like Assassin's Creed hoodie, and then they just have like a polo shirt and jeans. I'm like,
It's
okay.
the
Hell yeah.
Zelda shirt cargo shorts with the overcoat.
The Assassin's Creed hoodie or
Yeah.
some like sci-fi anime thing. It's always fun.
It's because they think that the character, like all like the essence of the good look comes from just the coat without
The complete
taking the whole thing
yeah.
into account. I mean, that was me. Like one
Yeah.
of my I don't know if I've said this on the pod before. I'm sure I've shared pictures, but like one of like my first like fashion purchases before vintage or before all that kind of stuff was a black kind of like brushed cotton or moleskin top coat. It was 3-button, notch lapel, and I got it from Banana Republic. And
Yeah.
the reason why is because my good friend Gabriel Siler Gray from Heroes wore a black overcoat because he was a fucking serial killer
Oh,
with
man.
a black cap. And then of course when they reveal who he looks like, he wears the iconic mid 2000s thing of wearing a black hoodie with a black overcoat on on top of it, that kind of layered New Yorker look and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Spencer just shared the 5 coolest anime jackets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and even then, right?
But
Like all the
these are all
marine
hoodies, too.
characters. Yeah, but all the
I'm-
marine characters in One Piece wear a fucking overcoat too. So
No, what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to find is like the badass, like, oh, this is like a cool old like military coat, or like fucking some like weird anime thing. But I can't find that. Really quick,
Dante
just stray
from
observation.
Devil May Cry,
There you
the
go.
red
that's
coat.
it.
Stray observation, just speaking of nerds who have like an elaborate coat and make that their whole outfit. I always thought it was kind of a funny joke on The Office, talking about, hey, millennials, shout out to you guys.
Nice.
Where Dwight has like a 70s like German officer coat or something
Yeah.
that he wears with everything. That does feel like very true to that type of guy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy who wears like a really cool military-ish jacket with like regular clothes.
But he's like
I mean,
super
again,
proud of that coat.
Yeah, I mean that was me with this coat. I'll try and find some old photos of Ethan wearing the Banana Republic one, and then I later on I got another one because I was like, oh, I want a gray overcoat, and I need to go back and find the Facebook post where I'm like, hey guys, which one should I get? And it was a Calvin Klein like Ulster coat, and I'm 5'8", and I'm sure when I was younger I was even shorter than that, and so. I'm sure it was meant to be like a thigh length, kind of coat. This is like 2009, 2010. But it was like an overcoat for me, and it was like my favorite thing in the world. It's like black, double-breasted, with the Ulster collar kind of a thing. It had like hand warmer pockets. It was like gray flannel. I'm sure it was like part polyester, but I loved that thing. And I wore that. It like kind of like Dwight style. I wore that cool ass overcoat with like my church clothes because it was like so cool. And then of course when I wore it when I went to China, you get on the phone real quick here.
Right.
No, just hang it up.
I wore it with like a greens vertical horizontal stripe hoodie from the damn it, what's the snowboarder? The Shaun White collection. I wore that with like sweatpants during my trip to China. So I was like one of those kids who I was like, the coat beats, like it takes over the whole vibe because in my head it's the coolest thing I have on, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I've always loved overcoats. Again, I'm that nerdy guy, and I'm glad that now I can do the whole look where it's like a suit, overcoat. Or, hey, it's fine to do like the hoodie and overcoat thing. MJ saw that when I was sick, when I went to go watch a movie.
Yeah.
You wear, again, very, very like New York, right? You have like a beanie, hoodie, sweatpants, like loafers, some kind of leather shoe, and then you have like a fucking big ass coat with it, when you're just, like, I'm sure people call it like the bodega look. I call it the driving out to Glendale to watch a movie and then go home afterward. So
I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but before I was really interested in clothes, I also had like cool jacket syndrome, where I would just like I
CJS.
had like this like cotton like military jacket, like field jacket type thing. That I would just wear like all year with like t-shirts and fucking jeans.
Hell yeah,
And
dude.
the reason I really liked it was because it had like an inside pocket, which I literally since like preschool. When I would see like people on fucking like Law and Order take out like papers from their pocket.
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
I like as a kid I was like, oh my god, that's so cool.
He was like,
And so
Even
yeah.
today, it's cooler. It's cooler to take your phone out from a breast pocket than it is your pants pocket.
Inside
It's just-
pockets remain cool. I'm not saying I don't think that they're not cool anymore, but that's been a constant throughout my entire life. I've always envied men who are
That's
wearing jackets with hidden pockets.
Yeah, I mean, MJ, what about you? Do you have a big coat thing? You were kind of like more of a jacket guy, though.
Yeah, more like
you were more of like a
like jackets,
like a bomber jacket or whatever.
jackets, sweaters, and hoodies. But I feel like it was an easy like conversion into
Okay.
like, right, because like you get introduced to like the drape and the length of coats, and that's like the
Yeah.
silhouette that's just, I mean, we talk about it all the time, the just top, like where your shoulders are just straight down, like that's cool,
Hell yeah,
So
brother.
it was
Yeah.
easy sell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's like your closest way of like being like Darth Vader, right? Like, because you can't wear
Yeah.
clothes. I mean, hey, Safin Core didn't exist,
Or,
so
or like a cape.
when you're a kid,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't do that. So you wear an overcoat. And I'm sure you guys had this problem, but like again, for me, like my parents were like, why would we buy you a coat? It's not like why you don't need that,
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I was like, I promise you, Mom, I will wear this all the time, and I fucking did. I only gave it to MJ. The spoiler alert, the black moleskin kind of overcoat thing, which works out for MJ for like black tie stuff. It looks really good because it's a black overcoat, and there was for those of you who don't know, you didn't just wear in the 30s, and 40s when you were doing black tie, you didn't just wear any overcoat. You had technically you're supposed to have a like Chesterfield overcoat in black with the velvet collar, and you could. I mean, people didn't always do that, but like according to Apparel Arts, like that was
that was
correct.
That's
look.
the guidelines, but people would wear what they owned, and so if you're a wealthier person, you probably would own that. I'm sure there are photos of middle class or poorer people who still went to black tie events. The people, that's one of the reasons vintage tuxedos are so cheap, is because almost everyone owned them, but not everyone wore them a lot, so they stayed in pretty good condition. But yeah, you do see photos of people wearing trench coats with tuxedos, which I think is cool. I did that.
Yeah, as mentioned in that, I love wearing like I think a duffel coat with tuxedo. I think mixing the formality is really cool when you get to, because again I don't even own a proper black tie overcoat. I didn't even have proper black tie shoes for a long time. And so I think it's fun to kind of force versatility, one of our tenets of philosophy on there. But one thing I noticed about the rise, or not the rise, but like just like why outerwear, specifically overcoats, are on the mind, is because I feel like things have gotten a lot more tailored lately because we've moved away from like heritage. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of guys like on TikTok are still wearing, of course, selvage jeans and short coats, but like wearing like we don't really see like the M65 anymore. Like it's not really a thing. Even Edgy Albert, like you get a big ass coat because I think it's like you want like a little bit of that dark academia vibe. You want a little bit of like that like neo prep that you're getting from
people
ALD.
People want to look
and,
like
and
the guy in like an 80s or 90s like rom-com.
Exactly.
It's like,
and those guys are wearing big ass overcoats and not like a you're not fucking the deer hunter wearing like a fucking like orange high vis thing, and you're not Rambo in the M65. You're Billy Crystal wearing like a Bal McCann, I think, or whatever.
I don't know if he wears
really
a lot
cool.
of overcoats in that movie.
There might be like one shot of him wearing like a coat in like one scene.
Ironically, he does wear like a fishtail like military parka.
Actually, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And what's funny though is that might be the most tailored.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like
I
see guys doing the fishtail parkas, or like the longer
Henrik.
length green jackets with like with like suiting. We say that.
Yes.
Does someone get mad at us saying that?
Yes. We can't say the vintage guy's name, but he says it should be called tailored clothing and not tailoring.
But yeah, no, I like those. I own one of those. I have I think it's the M51. It's not the fishtail, but it is an M51 parka.
Well, yeah, it's really sad now because like for a while my main my main like outerwear thing was my M43, and when I was smaller because I was just getting started, um, I would wear that over tailoring, and now it's more like a short coat to me because it's
Yeah.
just I'm a little bit bigger now. But again, as we'll get into in a little bit, I've gotten some really great outerwear that I've been really excited, and you guys will see because I wear it as much as possible. I don't again if I'm going to a bar and it's outside, and we've been going to two bars that have been outside, which is Capri and Waltz. It just makes sense to bring a coat. We don't have to. But like you're sitting outside, it's good
You're gonna
protection
get
for
cold,
like a
you know?
yeah, exactly, and exactly, and so I think it's really cool. And I actually, me and MG were at Capri a little while ago, this past weekend, and it was kind of cold that night. Isabel was with us too, and she's a very small and not a lot of body fat person, so she was like bundled up, and we luckily got a seat right next to the heat lamp
Fire.
thing.
Yeah.
The fire thing, but me and MG were in we were in the bar, and I could feel sometimes you feel some eyeballs because like we're kind of dressed up,
Yeah.
and I see a lot of guys wearing like like these fucking Silver Lake ass guys wearing like a tweed jacket with a scarf. I'm like, hey buddy, I'm wearing a fucking Balmacan overcoat, get in line, baby. Like you gotta get the real shit. MG was bundled up. We got a turtleneck and the belted raglan trench coat that I gave him. But yeah, I mean, it's just been really fun to just break out, and you're right, Spencer. I really think the 80s, 90s inspiration right now is kind of one reason why we're getting into this, and we really, at least for me, I don't really feel the need to wear my rugged stuff, and it kind of is a common theme for me lately where I don't really wear my workwear and milsurp. I've been wearing like tailored clothing, and that includes my overcoats, and so. Yeah, and even like the stuff that I've been consuming lately has been a lot more coats, more Armani 90s, not really too much Bob Dylan walking around cold with his little shirling
suede thing.
Yeah, the suede jacket thing. But yeah, and then you look at like guys like Jake Wolf on TikTok, who's his whole content is him sharing his like top 10 things to get, and like 4 out of 5 were like coats. They were, I think the first one was like the polo coat and everything like that. But have you guys been consuming things that have been
I haven't
inspiring
been eating
you?
coats.
Just been eating
Okay.
so many clothes.
You wrote that in Fargo and Columbo.
I did put a couple things. I did watch Fargo a couple weeks ago, and I was like, damn. Steve Buscemi looks pretty cool. He's got like the shearing coat, which he wears with I think that's like the only jacket he wears in the movie. So he wears it with a couple things, including like red corduroy pants, and like later he wears it with like a tan turtleneck and some like tan like kind of
Nice.
sporty military pants cut type things. Those look pretty cool. Columbo, of course, you gotta love the overcoat with like the shitty 60s green tie and suit. I do love the just kind of schlubby look right there. I can't think of too much specifically where I guess movies that we've talked about on the podcast, like The Sting, Dick Tracy even.
Dick Tracy. Yeah.
Obviously there's some good coats in that.
And you watch like Friends, there's the New York Frasier, they're always wearing overcoats and that kind of stuff.
I mean, I'm about to send a photo to the chat, but it's like what and we'll talk about I guess a little bit in more detail how we wear coats. But I did rewatch one of my favorites, Inside Llewyn Davis. There's a scene where he borrows. He doesn't wear an overcoat much in that movie because he's poor and doesn't.
Oh, this is like a car coat. Yes.
Yeah, but he like steals one from Justin Timberlake or borrows it to go to Washington Square Park, which he just wears with just a t-shirt and some like slacks or whatever. And that is how I wear coats most often, because a lot of times if I'm doing something like that, eventually it does start to get colder in Southern California. And at least last year, I know that we had a lot of rain and stuff like that.
That's right. Last year, yeah.
And so I was wearing the last winter and this year have been the most overcoats I've ever worn, because Like I said, we had a lot of rain last year, so I was using that as an excuse to wear some of the lighter overcoats or just raincoats. Then I visited New York in March, where I needed a coat every day. And I brought my trench coat, but honestly I could have brought like with the Gab trench coat, but I could have brought something heavier. And then in San Francisco, I ended up having to wear coats a lot, even though I was there during the summer, because it gets fucking freezing at night. And so
That's crazy, actually.
yes, and so I was wearing my duffel coat a lot. I brought that up, so I was wearing that a ton. I wore it with like a seersucker suit one day, which was kind of a fun combo because it was hot during the day, and then we were fucking going out later, and it was freezing. So
Yeah.
But most of the time when I'm wearing a coat, it is just with like a sweater or a sweatshirt or something like that. I think that feels very much like the zeitgeist, like 80s, 90s kind of like, you know, rom-com male lead look right there. But I do like it. Again, it just feels nicer than just going out with just like a turtleneck or just like, you know, a bomber jacket or something. Even when I'm just going to the grocery store, it's kind of it feels good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like my go-to look when I'm like watching a movie when it's like this kind of weather is I just wear a hoodie. Because you know, usually at this like I watch movies at like 10 o'clock at night, so like I already wear my fit. I like change out of it. I eat some dinner. I relax at home, and I'm like, okay, well, hey, I got some time. I'll watch Wonka, you know, or something like that. And so my go-to is like I'll wear, you know, in the summertime it'll be like shorts, t-shirt or whatever with like a short coat. But when it's like, you know, kind of cold, I kind of want to be wrapped up. And if, you know, movie theaters can get cold. I remember I watched something recently and I didn't wear an overcoat and I was fucking freezing because I was just wearing like a t-shirt or whatever. And so it's like a good opportunity for me to wear something. And, you know, my overcoats I'll get into later, like they've been pretty long and big and they're really fun and cozy, and, you know, they're cut roomy, so I could wear again my hoodie with it, or I could just wear a sweatshirt, and then I just get wrapped up in my little seat, you know, just
wrapped up,
a little cozied up. And so
I'm checking the AMC app now. I'm just gonna see what showtimes are tonight.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Wonka comes out this Thursday, which I gotta see. I gotta see pretty young Wonka thing.
Well, did you see? We might actually end up talking about this movie because did you see? Die Workwear was tweeting about it. All the main characters, all the leads, had a different bespoke tailor make suits for them.
I did not know this. This is new information for me.
And they said that Wonka's costume, Timothée Chalamet's wardrobe, was also made by bespoke tailors, but then they like chopped it up and like sewed it back together like wrong or something. But that actually sounds kind of interesting.
The one that he just said was done by, and what sucks is that people are gonna listen to this in fucking January, like so this is all old news. Yeah, and I'm guessing we might have to talk about Wonka or something because I am looking at the character that's tailored by Freddie Nidu, and it's a green peak lapel single breasted jacket, and I'm like, hell yeah, actually that's pretty awesome.
Oh man, hang on, they got Die Hard and Napoleon, which I still need to see.
Yeah.
Oh hey, yeah, it's ice. It's salt.
Whoa, wait! Oppenheimer is still in theaters.
Oh yeah.
No, there's a showtime for Oppenheimer.
Yeah, they
re-released it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. You guys remember how like the Bal McCann was like the it coat of like all time for a long time?
When I was working at J. Crew, like when we got those in every year, we always had some like brown plaid ones, which I thought were pretty nice. I like those. But yeah, those were the ones to get, man.
Yeah, and I think it's because remember like one of the first things that Abercrombie did when they were good. This is like 3 years ago. It's like the height of the pandemic in 2020. But one of them was indeed the Bal McCann, like the brown houndstooth or gun check one. And when you go on like MFA, you know, you wear that with pair of boots or whatever. It's pretty big. But I feel like it's gone out now. I feel like the new it coat is the polo coat, and I think it's because, you know, Giorgio Armani. You know, you got like the 80s, 90s inspiration. You got Ralph Lauren. People are looking up old Ralph. People are looking at old Ralph inspiration. And of course, like people said, like, you know, the 80s, 90s rom-com thing. It's very preppy. It's kind of yuppie at the same time. And so like the khaki, you know, the polo coat or like a khaki overcoat, I think it's really popular. And I think it's also because like it never went out. Like the khaki top coat is still super popular for guys wearing slim fit blue suits and brown shoes.
Yeah.
And so it's like the revival of that is really cool.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny now when people are saying, just like, again, we had the episode on my style. We're like, oh, how do you feel when people are dressing like you or taking cues from what you like? I think it's a little funny that everyone's saying, yeah, look up 1930s coat on eBay. You'll find it for cheap. I'm like, fuck, man. Like,
Yeah.
even though I'm not really buying like that, it's still like, damn, like people are finding all my fucking tricks out here. But yeah, I think the
All my
polo coat
tricks.
is, yeah, my polo coat's so cool, and none of us owned one until I
No.
got one recently.
Oh, that's
So,
right.
Ethan stays winning.
I think that the color also just contributes because I think like
It's
the
striking.
contrast. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
very striking, and the contrast is pretty cool because a lot of times, at least based on what I've seen, I feel like people tend to wear it with darker everything else. So having that pop of like khaki is pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, what this is also like not in the full zeitgeist, but I remember like the J Crew barn coat was a big thing too, and that's something that was really cool. I
I own
liked it.
one.
It was a good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You have the red one. I have like the even. Well, I don't own it anymore. I gave it to Isabel, but it's like a nice like
The fireman red.
fireman red. Yeah, but I didn't give it up because the color was bad. I just gave it up because I wanted a barber jacket, and I didn't think it would justify me owning both a barn coat and a
Which
barber
that one
jacket.
to me is crazy because I know that they have both the corduroy collar, but the barber jacket is so different. Like
It's because it's longer. So that's the
Okay.
whole thing. So if let's get into like what we own now, because
Yeah.
my thing is just like with sport coats, everything's got to be long. You know what I'm saying? Like I just like MJ said earlier, it's about the drape, it's about silhouette, it's about drama, and so for me, as I figured out what I like to keep and what I like to wear, I just like the biggest things, and so things that are too short, like a barn coat, which is like kind of like thigh length. It's like almost, it's like a fraction of an inch longer than a sport coat. To me, I'm like, well, that just means I can't wear it with a sport coat. That means I can't wear it. You know what I mean? So that's just my crazy tailoring first brain, poisoning
first.
everything. Yeah, America first, baby.
right.
But yeah, no, it's like why I don't really wear my jungle jacket as much. I do wear that more because it's like lightweight and it's like its own look.
Yeah.
But my jungle jacket isn't really. It is outerwear, but it's not over tailoring. Even though I could, it is still more so for me a jacket alternative. So it's an alternative to a sport coat or to a chore coat, as opposed to being like a true like outer layer. And so all of those things that were an outer layer that aren't long enough is stuff I don't wear anymore. And so the barn coat is now Isabel's jacket, and she wears it because it's red. It fits in with her style. And for me, if it's inclement weather, I'll just wear a fucking barber jacket. So
yeah.
that's just me.
That's
you
just
know.
me, baby.
That take it or leave it, baby. Come on now. Okay, so for this past year, and the upcoming, I guess we're in it now. So I guess
Yeah.
the current fall, not even fall, winter. It's winter, baby. Winter
This
2024.
episode, it's kind of a time warp. A little behind the scenes. It's a little bit of a time warp, this episode.
They're not gonna know what we're referring to.
Yeah, that's what makes it
You
good.
pulled an Ethan. Yeah, you pulled an Ethan at the beginning of the episode.
I'm sure we're gonna get into it later because I don't know. I feel like
is
it's just
funny,
gonna
yeah.
come up with context.
So okay, what are you excited? What have you worn, Spencer? Like this past
Spencer.
cold season, and what have you been excited? What have you been excited to wear? Outerwear wise, and what have you worn already?
Well, so I don't think
You got a couple of stuff. You got a couple
I
of
got
cool
a couple,
coats.
I do have a couple of stuff, and I'm always saying
Yeah.
I have a couple of stuff.
COS baby.
Yeah, but anyway, I don't think in general, maybe up until this year, I wore outerwear as much as you did, just because I didn't wear as many sport coats. And a lot of times, if it was cold, I would just wear like a leather jacket or a deck jacket or something that doesn't really
Oh, yeah.
lend itself to layering. But
That's true. I mean, we do say earlier in the episode that leather jacket stuff are cool, but it's not the same thing as like a big
No,
coat or
exactly.
like a big parka or something. Yeah.
But I don't know. This year, I have enjoyed wearing outerwear a lot more. When you're cold out, obviously it's gonna be better than just like one heavy outer layer. I like having a big tweed overcoat because it feels like you're just you got a fucking snuggie, you got a big blanket wrapped around you at all times.
Yeah.
So the first time in the year 2023 that I believe that I was wearing overcoats. No, I actually started doing that. Yeah, late 2022, early 2023 was my overcoat period because around that time, that's right. If I recall correctly, that was a pretty rainy winter, right? Or am I thinking of like earlier? But like 2022 or 2023, I'm pretty sure it was pretty rainy in California, and so I would end up wearing my 40s Gab trench coat a lot.
That's right. The wool gabardine one.
Yeah, which is something that we picked up at Joyride on a day where it was raining. We just asked, what overcoats do you have in stock? What raincoats do you
Or
have?
raincoats. Yeah.
And they
yeah.
happened to have like two that were our size. So it was perfect. It worked out.
Yeah.
That one is currently out of commission because I wore the hell out of that thing when I spent like a week in New York in March, where it was pretty cold. It was in the low 40s most of the trip. And it's an old jacket. And so after wearing it like every day, just like everywhere for an entire week, I need to replace like one or two buttons. One of the little loop for the belt came off on one side, so I have to re-sew that on. And it's not like I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like I haven't felt the need to wear it, so I haven't done it. Because in addition to that, the other coats that I own, which are good for rain, I have my Barber, of course.
The Barber Game Fair, the long length one.
That's right. Which I don't know. We do have the same model, but yours is longer than mine. I don't know if they come in like regular long, short sizes, and you just happen to get a long or something. Or just proportionally on our bodies, it looks longer. But I do like the length of that one a lot.
Yeah, I'm short.
Yeah, I'm short. Then my duffel coat is another good rain one. That one, it's
with a hood. It comes with a hood.
It does come with a hood. But yeah, it's a very dark blue or black, depending on the light.
I always thought it was black, and which is cool. But then it could be a navy.
I think it's like a midnight blue. I mean, I don't know. I'll look. We'll leave it for
and
the
you
viewers to decide.
Bluey, you picked it up at the flea market, right?
That's
you
right.
picked
That
up
was
the
another
game fair at the flea market. You picked up the duffel coat at the flea market.
You know what's funny is the duffel coat was another kind of like practical purchase because that was another day where it was like super rainy at the flea market, and I just saw the duffel coat. I tried it on.
Oh, that's right. I should see if I can include photos from that because we bought it and wore it the same day.
Yeah, and it was like a pretty reasonable price, so I was like, yeah, why not? And so I just got that. That's another good one. I have something that I recently replaced, which is a 1948 or 1947, I think, army parka. That one is just like the shell, like it doesn't have it had a detachable lining, and I don't have the lining for it or the belt. So that one is now being replaced by something that I'll get into in just a second. And then other than that, the other two overcoats that I have are the two ones that I got from you, which is the 70s herringbone tweed one. Yeah. Which is like an Italian wool. That one's pretty nice. It's not the heaviest, but it is like...
It's cool.
It's cool.
Belted.
And it's belted, and it is a good weight for, California nights. It's I don't know if I would take it out in like extreme weather. But it's good for when it gets down to like, the low 50s and stuff like that in California.
Yeah.
And then lastly, the one that I might actually take out in extreme weather, which is the like almost dead stock, like 30s or 40s one.
I need to see that in person again. I remember when I bought that on eBay and I for like $20 or something, and it was just huge on me. I was like, damn.
It is, and it's huge on me too. But it's like I tried it on before I left for my trip to Boston, which again we'll get into, I guess, in the bonus episode. But I'll describe some of the coats that I brought for that.
Yeah.
That like fit better when I would like, wear a sport coat and have like a sweater and a flannel shirt and like, all these layers underneath. But by itself, it is just huge and like hangs off my shoulders, and I don't know, maybe that's a look, but I've just never broken it out. And it is also just insanely heavy. That thing is like really heavy. And
I
like
literally
said,
haven't seen it because you haven't brought it out. I literally haven't seen it in
it's
like 10 years.
Yeah,
when I bought it 10 years ago.
You'll see it, I guess, next time you come over or something. I'll
Yeah.
break it out. And yeah, like, but I do like wearing overcoats a little bit more casually. I like wearing them with just like sweatshirts or sweaters, and stuff like that. I know you don't like doing this, but I like wearing them with chore coats or like HBT
Can't do it.
overshirt. I like that's something I do a lot. But yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, you're kind of like, I mean, overall, your overcoat style. I mean, it's all practical, but like I guess for people like me who are into different genres and especially the formality connotations of things or the roots of things, it does feel a bit subversive, right? You're wearing like a formal coat with casual items.
But again,
of course,
like
80s, 90s people did that all the fucking time. Jeans.
yeah,
With
I can't
overcoats.
remember if I referenced this earlier in the episode or now, I guess. But anyway, I've always thought about the scene in Inside Llewyn Davis where he has to steal a coat from like Justin Timberlake because he doesn't own like an overcoat, and he just like goes out and he's just wearing that with like a t-shirt and like corduroys and like desert boots or whatever. And I've always thought that look was pretty cool. Like I said, just the kind of like, oh, I'm just throwing on a coat to do some errands kind of look. I feel like that's very in vogue right now. I feel like you see a lot of that kind of thing on Instagram.
Yeah. Do you ever intentionally pick your coats based on like the vibes of your fit?
Oh yeah,
like
definitely. Like I don't know.
I mean, I've noticed cowboy boots with duffel kind of two different. You got military / preppy with western.
I mean, I also like wearing the tweed one with like more rugged stuff because, it's kind of the rougher fabric. It's got the kind of bolder fabric and stuff like that. And I do think. Yeah, just the black and white herringbone. Like I said, I like it how it looks with denim. I like how it looks with like HBT stuff. So yeah, that tends to work pretty well. And then really quick, the two that I just purchased, which if you want to hear the full story of how I wore these, I guess subscribe to the Patreon and listen to our episode on the holdovers. But I recently did a trip to Boston, and in preparation for that, I bought a couple coats. The two that I bought were a 1970 dated pea coat, and then a B11 parka, which I was kind of worried that I was going a little bit overboard buying those two coats before I left, but they were absolutely necessary.
We saw the photos.
Yeah, those were the only two coats I wore like the entire trip. I packed. I packed my tweed like long overcoat, which I thought would be good because the long length is good. I brought a sport coat with me. I was wearing a sport coat most days, so I thought that would be good. But yeah, it's just not as warm as the other. Or as the others, so I didn't find myself wearing that one nearly as much. The other funny thing I just want to get into quickly about now owning a pea coat is this is something I have expressed on the podcast. For a long time, I have been anti pea coat, just because I associated them with like the nerdy shit that I would wear in like high school or just in general, kind of like geeky high schoolers who want to like look cool and like Sherlock or something. But now,
he wears a great coat, not a pea coat. But
yeah, I know, but these
that's
what
they want to do. Yeah, that's true.
But no, I got it, and boy, oh boy, I kind of fell in love with it. The other funny thing is, like I said, mine is dated 1970. And for those who don't know, the pea coat kind of went through a major redesign after World War II, where it lost a row of buttons, which changed the shape pretty dramatically. The jacket got a little bit shorter. It changed the shape of the lapel, stuff like that. And I always kind of thought I wanted one of the earlier ones. But after wearing the 1970 one and comparing it with the early ones, I think I like the later model a little bit more with the 3 rows of buttons. Just because I like the shape of the lapel a little bit more. I think it gives you like a bigger, more dramatic collar. and it's a little just bit more like streamlined in terms of the design. Like it's like
Yeah,
it's like the difference between the early model jungle jackets that have like the epaulettes and all these other like fussy details versus the later
right.
ones, which are just very clean, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was debating on whether or not peacoats counted as big outerwear, and it might not be in length, but it does make up for in collar. So
Yes,
that is
and that
the
is
big thing.
God so helpful. That collar was like really helpful, and I feel like I'm going to be breaking that out a lot more because I might wear that in place of like
And
my N1
yeah,
or something because it does offer a little bit more protection in terms of warmth, and also then sometimes the problem with wearing just like one heavy jacket as opposed to layering, and this is going to be kind of obvious, but you take off the one heavy jacket and then you're cold in your shirt. Well, there's nothing you can do. But if you have like a light jacket and then like a heavier jacket or something on top of your shirt or sweatshirt, whatever, that's a little bit more manageable. So yeah, you will probably see more pictures of me wearing this pea coat while I still can for the next, I don't know, month or so. When is it going to start getting hot at nights again?
I hope not soon, because I've been really enjoying getting to wear my outerwear, which I
Yeah.
guess I can get into now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I again, I know because of the time warp craziness, I don't remember if I said this earlier in the episode or not.
Yep.
Who knows? So I apologize if this is being redundant, but I definitely see outerwear as like going out attire, not specifically as in like, oh, it's sexy, it's sleek. I mean, it can be. What is this, like 2012 camel overcoat, with tan shoes action.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I definitely see it because a lot of the places we frequent now are like outside bars. It's kind of a problem, when it rains. I think a couple of weeks ago we were like, shit, it's raining. A lot of places we go to are small inside, big outside, and it's raining. So what are we gonna fucking do? We're gonna cancel our whole evening. But typically when it's not raining, we're outside and it's getting kind of cold. It dips into like the low 50s or maybe even high 40s, depending on if there's wind or whatever. And so being outside kind of requires some kind of outerwear, to feel comfortable. Obviously, being LA, we're most likely fine wearing a t-shirt and jeans. Most people there are in t-shirts and jeans, or even shorts for some crazy people.
Easy
But
people.
it's just nice
I mean, dude,
to like lean into it.
I also have
Yeah.
to say, when I again, we'll get more into this in the bonus episode, but when I was in Boston, it was
Yeah.
insanely cold most of the time. A lot of times it was in the 20s. Most people were bundled up, but I still saw like the New England equivalent of that, which were guys who were just wearing jeans and like a thin like fucking like Bruins hoodie or something, and that was
Hell
it.
yeah.
And I'm like, how do you do this, man?
Yeah, they're fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. Or they're literally built for it. So
They're built for it, yeah.
But I'm even though I know I'm fine with even just a suit. It's not. I'm never like that cold. It just makes sense to lean into the vibes. Like it's quote cold out, so I get to wear my outerwear. And as some of you know, I have a lot of fun outerwear. I've written a couple articles about it before, but this current iteration, which is why we're doing the episode, was like, oh, I should highlight some of the stuff I haven't talked about before. Because before I had like a Mackinac, which MJ has. It's kind of a shorter length one. But yeah, right now, on the subject of like military stuff, I had like M43, kind of wear it, and it's kind of similar to a peacoat. The collar is not as big, the length is like right at your middle or slightly longer than the middle of your thigh. I've got stuff like that. I've got my leather jackets. I've got my jungle jackets that I sometimes wear over my sport coats, but it's not the same thing, because the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I haven't talked about some of the newer stuff that I have that are bigger. And so my first real overcoat, well, I guess we do a history lesson. I used to have I used to love Heroes. Siler would wear this overcoat, with the black plain ball cap and this black overcoat with the black hoodie, very early 2000s, or sorry, late aughts kind of fit. I got like a black coat from that. I used to love, again, Sherlock during when I was in college or in high school right before it. And I got like this Calvin Klein gray. I think MJ might have that one too. I don't know if he does. No, maybe not. Maybe I gave that to like Adam or something. But I had like this gray Calvin Klein. I'm pretty sure it's like a wool blend, but it's kind of like an Ulster coat or like a very long length pea coat. It's got like the Ulster collar and like 3 rows of buttons. And I think I have some photos of me wearing them on the blog post. But those weren't, those were okay. But as I got into like vintage and everyone knows I got into true vintage, right after I fell into hashtag menswear or like Tumblr fashion. Those didn't go with it. And my whole thing is about finding a cohesive, natural fit. And while these coats are fine, like MJ has the black moleskin one, and it's totally fine. He gets to wear it, especially with like with black tie, which is what a black overcoat would probably be best worn with. I knew I wanted something more dramatic, something longer length. And so my first one was a brown 1940s Bal McCann. It has raglan sleeves, a really big collar, it's from the 40s, from curly clothes, and so it contrasts against like the 50s and 60s ones you see on Mad Men, which have smaller collars. Nothing wrong with that. Those are probably more Ivy, but I wanted the big one. And what's funny now is that the Bal McCann is like the coat. I think we talked about earlier with like the Abercrombie dad coat. Rubato has a coat or something, or Permanent Style has a coat. Lots of places are. Adret has a fucking overcoat that's a Bal McCann style, and so it's like not saying I was ahead of the curve. This thing has existed for 100 years, but I love it, and I got it in 2017 after my interview with Ascot Chang. I was feeling good about it, and so I went to Paper Moon Vintage, which is one of my favorite vintage stores up here, and I bought it. And what's really funny is that I got it for like $80 because in LA people don't buy coats, and so
that's right.
They're
a lot
usually
of vintage stores don't even like carry them.
Yeah, because no one's gonna fucking buy them. They might carry them just to have them for like the one guy who's visiting, and that guy was me at Paper Moon, and I bought it. And I love wearing it. It looked good with Ivy. It looked good with 40s clothing. It looks good with a fedora. I think I said earlier in the episode that I tend to wear my fedoras with overcoats because it kind of just makes more sense. Like a hat with a suit is like okay, but like the coat's like okay, everything is kind of working toward protecting yourself from the elements, and it just makes more sense. I think the added volume makes sense with the added volume to your noggin, echoing, this thing here. But yeah, so that was a really big one, and I wore that a lot. And I didn't buy a new coat for like 5 years because like why would I need that? And then I was hanging out with Chris, and we went to this vintage store in Orange, in downtown Orange. It was not Joyride, but they had a duffel coat, and in a similar way, it's a vintage Gloverall. I don't know. It's not the super long one. This one kind of goes just at my knees. Mm-hmm. And I know that there are longer versions of it, but it's a navy blue one. It's nice. It's plush. It's maybe a little bit oversized because like the shoulders are big, but that's perfect for layering. I got that for like $50 at this vintage store, and that was my favorite. It's kind of funny because it was at like the tail end of like my trad stuff. Like I think everyone has kind of said that like my Ascot Chang era was kind of like my most Ivy. I was kind of like dressing a little bit, quote, safer but still vintage, and that was kind of like Ivy trad was kind of the way there. Plus Drake's was like popping off, and Drake's also had their own version of the duffel coat that didn't have a hood, and so kind of always wanted one. Didn't feel like going on eBay for it, and then I saw one in person, and I wear that a lot too. Kind of like Spencer, it's been fun to wear that with like jeans and cowboy boots. Although typically when I wear it, I play it straightforward, so I wear it with like button-down collars. I try and do English with it with like sweater vests, a gray Prince of Wales plaid suit. And yeah, that was really cool if I really want to be, to do a different vibe than my Bal McCann. And again, those were it. I bought that in 2020, the duffel coat. And then 2 years later, I go into a Salvation Army and I see a damn polo coat. It was $20. It's probably a size too big for me. The shoulders go right off my bone, but it is like perfectly 80s. Yeah, it's so 80s, 90s. When I wear it, it feels cool. It's super long. It goes like almost to like, it's like pretty much like mid calf length. It's super long. It's wool and cashmere. It's not super heavy. But it is, it's warm enough for me here. And of course, when I'm layering it, with a turtleneck and sport coat, or I'm wearing it with a sweater vest, sport coat, or denim shirt, whatever, it looks really good there. I've been enjoying wearing it with like Armani style outfits, kind of just playing into the 80s, 90s vibe of it. But of course, it looks good. It's like 40s clothing. It looks good with like a turtleneck. It looks good with like a hoodie. I've worn it. There was one time where I had to do I had to wake up at 9 o'clock and do an errand. and people call it like a dog walking fit. JT, shout out JTR on that. But I did put on some sweats. I put on a hoodie, put on some Birkenstocks, and then I put the coat on, and I went out the door to drop off my car to get the windshield replaced. And that's kind of like a good, again, like Spencer, you talk about like just throwing it on with whatever. Like that's a good example of that. And the duffel coat I feel like is a little bit not too much for that. I've done the duffel coat. MJ's seen it when we go watch movies, because that one's a little bit more plush and it's easier, again with a little bit of a shorter length. It's easier to move around, but the polo coat has been my favorite, and I'm glad we're recording this now after a time warp, because I feel like at first when I first did the initial version of this, I was wearing the polo coat a lot, but I think since then I've kind of like been pared it back a little bit, and I've been kind of giving some love to everything now. And you'll see a bunch of outfits there. I mean, all of them, usually with some kind of headwear, layering, full suits. It's just been really great. And then I have my, we talked about it already in our rainy day attire episode like 4 years ago. But I do have the Block Tech overcoat, which is a Balmacan style, but it doesn't have a raglan sleeve. It's literally just a shell. I haven't worn that too much because it hasn't been truly rainy, and when it does rain, I've been wearing my Game Fair, my Barber Game Fair, which is a longer length one. Again, with that one is usually with Ivy fits. It just makes sense with doing that look with it. And then I recently re-waxed it, or waxed it for the first time, so it feels super soft. Again, kind of like a leather conditioner. And yeah, I've been enjoying wearing all of those a lot. And then lastly, I have my kimono, my super fussy kimono, which is not the Visvim one. I think I've replaced the Visvim one because my shoulders have gotten a little bit too big for that one. It doesn't make sense to have a kimono that it's supposed to be oversized and fits too snugly on your arms. And so I got this one from Super Fussy. Shout out those guys. Bought it at the flea market. Really great, 100% cotton. And it's extremely oversized. And while it's, it was good early winter, late fall, definitely, too thin or not enough to wear it right now. But it's been really cool to wear that over some tailoring, and it looks really cool. It adds element of satin core, makes you look like a fucking Hogwarts professor or something, or like a British professor back in like the 1800s when you used to wear robes when they were doing their teaching or whatever. But yeah, I love wearing it out. I think, thinking of like the vibes of your outfit when and I decide early on that I leave it in the car, then I'll wear it when we actually get to the bar at like, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. And it's been really good to wear all of these out. Bar Flores is outdoors, Capri Club's outdoors. And then, it's fun to see everyone else kind of also wear their own coats. I mean, all the girls and all of our friends, they also wear coats, and they get a little cold. And so, it's fun to match. And if you'll notice with them, just like myself, we're big drama queens. We love the big coats, the big collars, and everything. So that's kind of like my theme with it. It's a fun little challenge. And again, if I was in New York, I'm sure I would, or SF or something, that I would definitely maybe be smarter with this. I would probably invest more money into more quality stuff. But again, all of these, and if I had to invest, I probably would have only had one, because overcoats are expensive. It's a lot of fabric to make this stuff. But it's LA, which probably means I should also just have one. But they're so cheap. You know what I mean? $20 polo coat, $50 duffel, $80 Balmacan. Why not?
One coat closet, and you never have to think about them. It's nice.
That's right. Yeah, it's fun. And so, but yeah, MJ, tell us about your outerwear.
My outerwear
collection.
You said that so funny.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of going over what Ethan has already talked about. Of course, the Banana Republic black moleskin gets a lot of use. Also the beige, the raglan sleeve trench, a little bit of a lighter jacket.
Oh,
but,
yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah,
that's
a bit of a lighter coat.
That's like 100% cotton. It's also like it's not a bad. It's like a big fit, but like it's kind of like like knee length, But good collar on that bad boy. That's like one of the few free things I've ever gotten, just because they offered it to me. Okay, guys, they just said, "Hey, do you want this?" And I said, "Well, it doesn't matter." They just it's a free thing. They gave it to me.
It was
that was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, not exactly a hashtag influencer thing,
didn't have to post it. They didn't require nothing. They just said, "Do you want this?" I said, "Sure." Just to be clear. All
if
right,
you
go
want
ahead.
to send it, he'll take it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have both of those. The block tech, like Ethan said, pure function when we have our bouts of rain or storms here in sunny SoCal. Um, and then after that, I have I recently came into a couple leather jackets, the black double rider from Ethan, and then I picked up an A2 brown leather jacket, secondhand as well. And that's pretty much. Oh, and then my lighter outerwear, the jungle jackets, both regular fit, have the Uniqlo oversized fit. Um, that again, like pure function, like a million pockets. And then I guess lastly would be the MA1 bomber. The green bomber I got off of eBay. It's like 80s, I think. It kind of fits that like puffer jacket function, because I don't really like wearing my puffer jacket, even though
Who does?
I keep it in my in my tote bag, like
You keep that thing on
at
you.
all times. Yeah, I usually it's also there if I want to like give it to somebody, like if like we're hanging out and like somebody else is cold, to just hand them the pocketable puffer jacket. Not sponsored, by the way, but
Nah,
it almost sounded like a sponsor spot.
it
But-
kind of did,
But yeah,
but it's not. It's
Just
and
a little
we're
bit.
not allowed to lie.
nope, transparency.
Yeah.
I don't know if you said before about the moleskin. Oh, I think you did. The use with black tie. Really enjoy doing
Oh,
that.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, quick tangent on that. I mean, I love that we've all kind of used our overcoats. I mean, none of us have the Chesterfield or whatever
Yeah.
the hell it is, right? With like the velvet collar with the overcoat. Like none of us own that. Like I'm sorry, Mr. Mark Chevalier, with your I mean it's cool. Mark is a big vintage guy, and I think it's great to have the whole rig, but none of us have that. And so,
No.
whenever we've had our black tie events, which we also organize ourselves, so it doesn't really matter anyway. We've been wearing like anything with it. MJ's probably the closest because he's wearing actually a black overcoat with it. I've worn a duffel, which I feel like is the best one, just because it's navy and it's like more fun.
But it is, yeah. But it's like one of the more casual overcoats. That's the other thing.
No, but I think that's why I like it, because I feel like
Okay, yeah.
my Bal McCann, I think it's because it's brown, it doesn't work. Maybe the polo coat would be good
Yeah.
with a tuxedo, because I haven't done that yet.
More
But
like
Spencer,
Bal
I know you've done.
McCant.
That's right. But Spencer, you've done the
trench coat.
your trench coat, which that one's really fun.
I like that
a
one.
lot.
Yeah, I've done the trench coat and the tweed overcoat with both of them, and both of those are. I mean, it's the same thing as the duffel coat, I guess, kind of subverting the level of formality. But I mean, yeah,
But trench coat is like super practical, and then
It
the
is,
gray,
and-
but the gray overcoat is also gray, which is closer than brown
That's
to like
true,
formality.
but like, yeah, the like I always think about the Singing in the Rain thing where he's wearing the white overcoat.
Yeah,
with his
that's also the
tuxedo
other one you
beginning.
should do. People should do.
Yes. Well, how many people
Either
own
wear
white
black or-
overcoats? Do you think?
Oh yeah, name them.
Mr. White.
I was gonna say Judge Whitey.
Okay, Judge White.
Judge Whitey presenting Benta
about Whitey
Bending
Bulger?
Rodriguez. Okay.
Um,
Jack White of the White Stripes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
And that's it.
that's
We-
it.
we
MJ,
went through
keep
the whole
going.
list.
I lost it. Oh, Ethan mentioned the red Mackinac that good use to.
Now, I wished I
stay
was
warm.
bigger, man. I wished I would have kept it if that thing was just bigger, dude.
Yeah.
That would,
Yeah,
it's just so small.
It's the it's the trend of Ethan's shoulders just not fitting anything anymore.
I know.
He'll tell you all about it every time I wear something of his. And
Yeah.
I did want to talk a little bit about like the coats being a at least for me like a jacket or like sport coat replacement, because
Oh yeah.
it's like we said before, it doesn't get that cold over here that we need to bulk up like regularly throughout the year, or at least throughout the fall winter season.
Hmm.
Because even when it gets to like 50, 40 degrees, like it's not that cold. Um, we just like to lean into it because it's our only chance to, because the rest of the year
Yeah.
it goes away into the closet or into a box somewhere.
It goes away.
Yeah, it goes away. So you know, I like to do a palette swapped, of like the meme outfit, camel overcoat, brown shoes with the Banana Republic jacket. So it's
Yeah.
like black coat, light outfit underneath.
I just do a palette swapped Wario most days. That's my go-to look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the third Wario brother, I guess,
Exactly.
is Spencer.
I have a hat that has an upside down S on it. My color
S it up.
is brown.
Oh boy, you dress like a
Yeah.
turd.
I'm dressed like a turd. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's my that's my overcoat options.
Yeah, yeah, and you'll see all of these photos and more in our
And
blog
more.
post. That's right, and you'll have to listen to about Spencer actually using them in the next bonus episode, which comes out. I mean, it'll be the next episode you see after this one. Um, but yeah, I really I enjoy big overcoats. I think we've gone through a phase where outerwear was so small it was basically like a
Hmm.
long sport coat. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I think everyone listening to this probably remembers like the 2010s of yeah, again, like the camel overcoat, the great coat, or sorry, the top coat with like the short length. But I guess, yeah, as a nerd, as someone who's always into like the bad guys, Siler, and Sherlock's not a bad guy, but it's I mean, he is a bad
He's not a
person.
great guy. Is what
Yeah,
He's not bad, but he's not great.
yeah.
He does too
But
much damn
all these
cocaine, if you ask
guys.
me.
The villain.
That's right.
Yeah.
All of these guys wear big overcoats, and then again, of course, Star Wars. Saf and Core is basically big overcoats, but in a more fashiony direction, a little bit of Asian
Hmm.
influence as well. But yeah, I think people should embrace big outerwear. I think it's just more fun. You get to have more, you get to literally have more fun with it because of the surface area of the fabric. There's just more of it. Um, and go thrift some stuff, find some stuff. Everyone wants to look like a gnome core, or what's the other one, the like the wet bandits or
Yeah.
whatever.
Or
you
Noam
know
Chomsky.
or Noam Chomsky.
Yeah.
Yeah, GNOAM.
That's right. I don't think
Yeah.
that's how you spell gnome, but
Genome.
you know.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us, well, maybe Spencer, but like I think most of us are good with our outerwear purchases. I mean, if I find like a fucking Chesterfield, for black tie, hell yeah, I'd wear it, and I'd wear that thing
Yeah, I don't
casually. You know what I'm
think.
saying? You
I
feel
don't.
me?
You feel me? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of. Well, this is the other episode, the other thing I mentioned in the last cut of this episode, the one thing that's still
Okay, we're
kind
just
of
saying
on,
it now.
yeah, the last cut, the last pilot, whatever. The one thing that I am kind of still on the lookout for. Well, now I don't know. Now, well, see, now that I have the pea coat, I talked about, I wanted the
Yeah.
longer length one, which I still think looks really cool. That I believe it might be a great coat, but I'm not talking about the ones that they made with the brass buttons for officers. I'm talking about the ones that they made, I think, during World War One, and then like in the 1920s, that had still the same like black plastic buttons. It basically was just the same pea coat, just cut full length. And oh man, that would be sick. Like a full length coat with that cool collar, stuff like that. I would love that. But I don't know. They're pretty rare, so I don't know if I'm ever gonna find one.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen one in person in a
Mm-hmm.
while, and so yeah, I mean, I don't think I have, yeah, very much for myself in a similar fashion. I mean, if I saw like a polo RL one to kind of get like the proper polo coat with like the turn back cuffs and the patch pockets, or like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like the because mine's basically like a tan double breasted overcoat. But I think I
Yeah.
said this in the last cut as well. I think a navy overcoat in a double breasted I think would be cool because I don't have like a navy other than my duffel. I don't have like a long life navy one, and that's very 40s. I mean, again, I bought the one for Spencer 10 years ago on eBay, and it was super cheap, and it did not fit me. And I should take another picture now because I don't think I remember telling Spencer, "Hey, do you still have it?" And I know I'm bigger now. He goes like, "Yeah, no, it's still too big on him." So I'm like, "Okay, never mind."
Yeah.
Um,
Like I said,
well,
it kind of works when I'm like layering up to hell underneath, but that's like one thing that I definitely can't just wear with like a sweatshirt or like a short coat or something like that. You
and
have
no one's
to.
gonna buy it because we live in California. Hey,
Yep.
Discord people, ask
Yeah,
us.
Discord. Yeah,
Listen to
honestly,
this and ask us.
we forget that the rest of there's a world outside of California.
Wow.
That's true,
I
and
know,
they've
it's
got money.
crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
They got money. Oh, I do want to say this: the Barber Solway, the belted long length
Oh
barber.
yeah, that's a good
That
one.
is the actual grail. A guy, an influencer, a menswear influencer, used to had one, but he was selling it for like $700, and I'm like, yeah,
Wow.
no. I mean, yeah, it's because the Solway doesn't exist. They don't make that anymore. They don't make
Yeah,
them anymore.
they don't make those anymore.
But it's like,
It's a
I
lot of
think if you find
batteries.
one, it's probably yeah, not new.
Yeah.
But there are people. If you find a Solway, it's probably from like the '70s, I think, because like they didn't really make them after that or something like that. So it's like it's not just a cool jacket; it's also dedicated vintage. It's like a belt back where
Yeah.
you see it like it is from a certain era, and therefore it commands a certain price. So don't have that. MJ, any closing, any grails you got big outerwear wise? Keep them big, keep them long.
Just expanding my Safin Court selection, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I guess I have the 18 East, like purple knit
Yeah, that's
kimono.
kind of big.
But it's yeah, I don't think it fits exactly into like what the three of us are thinking of. Um, because all the other ones are just kind of like, um, I don't know, they're just like light layering pieces, like an overshirt, I guess. Less
Yeah.
less of like a coat or like a true outerwear, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True coat.
Well, hopefully this
Well-
has all helped everyone decide to wear some big overcoats and have some fun with it. Again, wear it out.
This whole time we were trying to convince you guys because we know how hesitant everyone is to wear overcoats.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, you take it from guys who wear coats when it's 50 degrees outside.
Uh-huh.
And I think everyone looks at it practically, but on a serious note, I think everyone should have fun with their overcoats. Have some lean into some fun stylings, maybe get something bold. And again, like us, we wear it out to the bars. It kind of makes for a fun look.
Yeah.
And again, I apologize if I said this earlier in the time warp, but I remember I was at a bar. Me and MG were there, and it was kind of a colder night, and I see a guy wearing like a sport coat and like a scarf all bundled up, and I'm like, I'm wearing a coat. I look cooler than you. Me and MG were both wearing overcoats that day too.
Yeah.
We probably didn't look cool, but it's fine. We liked it. So.
We look cool to
And hey, if you
ourselves.
like it, that's right. That's what this whole thing has been about. But if you like it so much, you can go to patreon.com/style direction. Give us $5 a month because you love us so much. $5 a month gives you access to our Discord as well as our backlog of bonus episodes where we talk about movies. This next one will be about holdovers and Spencer's Boston trip. So
Yeah.
keep an eye out and an ear out for that one. And $10 a month, you get all of that, and we say your name at the end. So who are we thanking? We should actually check now because we are in 2024.
Yes,
With the current.
we are.
Current year.
Oh, yeah. Do you go
Our,
to,
I
you
have
go to-
it.
Yeah, you got it. Perfect.
Yeah. So our 2024 Sidecast Fanatics, we have Shane Curry, Philip Regard, Henrik Wilberg, and Alexander Batten.
Still the same four, baby. Thank you guys so much for your $10 a month. Don't forget to go to a little bit of rest.com if you want to see the photos of all of these outerwear stuff. And at the end of it, there is again a big section of us hanging out in our coats because that is what we wear them for. Because we will be inside anyway, if we're not doing that.
We're going to
You
prison.
can follow. That's right. You can follow the podcast at Style and Direction. We post cool photos on there, clips of the podcast. I mean, you're already listening to this, so maybe you don't need that, but you should follow it anyway. You can follow me at Ethan M. Wong.
I'm at Spencer DSO.
I'm at Oya MJ.
And we will see you guys next time. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye bye.